Welcome back to Townsquare Sunday. There are many parts of a radio station, some of which listeners may know very well, like the on-air staff or the news department or in some cases the sales department. There are other departments that you might not know too well or haven't thought about, but are as equally important, one of which is the promotions department, which serves to keep the brand of the station before the public with a variety of events, often year-round. In the case of Fun 107 and WBSM, we have a ton of promotions year-round, but none is quite as much fun, I think, as Lemonade Day.
Yes, yes. It's
Let
probably
me
my
just
favorite.
introduce you, okay? Our promotions director is Kristen Pacheco. She's here to speak with us about the fourth annual Lemonade Day, which is sponsored by Fun and WBSM. We wanted to talk a little bit about it. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
As we said in the previous segment, there's not a lot of original ideas floating around. Where did the Lemonade Day idea come from?
Sure. Well, first, it's not mine, so
Yeah.
I wish it were. I think 11 years ago now, down in Houston, Texas, somebody's son asked if he could buy a turtle, and the dad had a very candid conversation with him about where are you going to get the money for the turtle. And at that point, he realized the son actually had no financial literacy understanding at all. So he made the child understand he's going to earn his own money. This is how he's going to do it. They used the lemonade stand as a model small business. The son operated the business, made his money, and then it was that aha moment, and the man said, more kids need to do this. So fast forward 11 years, and now our fourth year, Lemonade Day has actually taken off nationwide, and millions of kids participate. It's very heavy down south. We're actually only one of two locations still, I believe, who do it in New England. There's us, and then there's Babson College who does Lemonade Day, Boston.
So, Lemonade Day is coming up on the South Coast. When is it, Kristen?
We celebrate it Saturday, May 5th. Boston also celebrates on this Saturday. Nationwide, you see a lot of cities host their lemonade days the first Sunday in May. We choose Saturday. We're very cognizant of people's first communion celebrations, and we want to make sure everyone has a chance to participate.
So parents and kids can still get involved, is that right? Are you still accepting?
Absolutely.
Applications?
Registration is still open, and thanks to our main squeeze, if you will, Bay Coast Banks, entrepreneur backpacks are available for free for pickup at select Bay Coast Bank locations, Somerset through Fairhaven. But certainly, we see kids register right up until the last week of April. We strongly suggest you give yourself at least 7 days to really get through the workbook, get through the curriculum, and make your business plan so that on Lemonade Day, you are fully prepared to run your small business.
Okay, so let's take us through the steps for Lemonade Day. My youngster is signed up. What happens next?
So next, you and your youngster can go and you pick up your backpack at one of the Bay Coast Bank locations. Inside of that backpack, you're going to get a child workbook that really, in kid-friendly terms, walks you through how to ask an investor for money, how to select the right stand location, what expenses and what capital expenses you might want to consider, what liquid expenses are, stuff that you might not even know as an adult. By the end of the workbook, you're like, wow, I could run a small business. I went through the curriculum. So you go through the curriculum, you work with your adult at home on your business plan. Your next step would be finding a location. And in this case, we find a lot of kids are asking local businesses if the business will gladly host their stand because the location is likely high traffic with a built-in customer base. And of course, a lot of the kids that really want the chance to earn their own money might not have a yard or a driveway in a high traffic location that will allow them to really reap the full benefits of it.
So you get to learn how to open a small business, at least for a day, but there are really some lifelong lessons too. There are some lessons, I think, about math skills and planning and relating to other people, working with other people. There's a lot of
Yeah,
that.
there are. We do have a number of kids. People sometimes think a lemonade stand is one kid, maybe a sibling, and they're running a business at the end of a driveway, like I said. What we have seen is teams of children, and sometimes everyone are just colleagues. In some cases, there's a boss and employees. We had one instance where one model worked so well that they franchised out the model. Now, for a 7 or 8 year old to understand what it means to be the boss versus an employee versus a co-owner or a franchisee of some other child's business. I mean, these are really, really interesting things that they do get the chance to learn. And then, probably my favorite story is a 6 year old had to make a really tough decision on his own about, do I cut into my profits and buy and use expensive paper cups and save the environment, or do I make more money, buy the cheaper styrofoam cups, and then live with the fact that it's not a good decision for the environment? And I mean, he's 6 years old, he wants to make a lot of money, but he also wants to really help the environment. And his mom said, like, he had a hard time making that decision, and that's not stuff that you might do otherwise
What kind of
as a
cup did he
child.
choose?
He ended up doing the styrofoam cups, but I believe he did donate all of his profit from the day to a nonprofit that was environmentally based. So he did help.
So there is a charitable aspect to this
Yes.
as well as the business aspect. There's a charitable aspect. So tell me about that.
So part of the lesson in the workbook is kids are encouraged to save some for future, for future investments, to spend some on some short-term goal that like sneakers or something that they really want right now, and then to share a portion of your profit and support the community that has likely come out that day to support you. Again, what we've seen a lot of kids do over the last few years is donate to causes, near and dear to their heart. And almost always we're seeing kids donate 50% or more, which is very impressive. A lot of times it's animal shelters. We see a lot of American Heart Association. We see a lot of American Cancer Association. And then I think, again, my favorite example of this is year one, we had a 7 year old, and he chose to donate all of his money to the animal shelter where he adopted his dog from, because his dog was his best friend in the world. Fast forward 4 years, he's still hosting his stand. He generates $600+ each year on average, still donates the money back to the shelter where his best friend was from.
All right, so myth one. Myth one is the kids don't get to keep the money they raise.
Yes, it's like a knife in the heart when I hear people say, "Oh, but then the radio station takes all the kids' money." It's like that's terrible, and we don't. And any parent who's involved, or any school or group who's involved with Lemonade Day, the kids keep all their own money. They are tasked with deciding what they're going to do with all of that money after the fact. The only time I know how much they make is when they fill out their final business report and send it in to me.
And there's no cost to get involved other than the expenses that you might have in running your business. Is that correct?
Right. So,
in other words, you don't have to pay for a backpack.
Nope, everything is free. So in a best case scenario, you register your child for free, and then all of the items you would ever need to run this stand, like a table, a pitcher, etc., you already have all those items. So at the end of the day, your expenses might just be the cups, the napkins, and the actual product. But other than that, that's the cost involved. So the cost involved is what you make of it. And again, kids are taught to really manage their budgets, and they want to keep expenses low. So it's actually pretty cheap. The station itself absorbs any related expenses to that. Of course, because it is a national program, there's a lot of intellectual property that we pay for. And then, of course, we do have a pool of money that we go out, and then we actually buy lemonade and tip all the kids for their great customer service the day of. So it's free for people to get involved. Not a free program overall, but that's why we have really great sponsors like Bakeless Bank and Pro Group Contracting help out.
Does the station make any money?
This is not a for-profit event. It is Any money we make, again, helps cover the cost of the intellectual licensing and property. All of the stuff comes down from Houston, Texas, and they have been known to serve cease and desist orders if anyone even looks like they're replicating the program without proper licensing. So we get sponsors involved because it helps us cover the cost of the program, and it helps us keep doing it in town. And of course, this year we expanded from our original 4 towns into 8 towns. So naturally, the cost, intellectually, property wise, has gone up. And again, we're very fortunate that our sponsors have said, like, we believe in the program, we believe in grooming these future business owners of the area. We're going to help out.
You're listening to Townsquare Sunday. My guest is the promotions director for Fund 107 and WBSM, Kristen Pacheco, and we're talking about Lemonade Day, which is happening May 5th, coming up soon here in the South Coast. Educational benefits here. Many, I think.
There are. We do have some schools that use it as an after-school program, maybe like an extended day project. There are actually, if people wanted to, there are 40 core values or developmental assets attached to the program that a lot of times teachers can use in the classroom to make sure that it can be part of the curriculum and it does make sense and aligns with everything that they're trying to do. Certainly, and then it does teach a lot of soft skills.
Kristen, you mentioned this earlier. Projects like this require sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you have a main squeeze for Lemonade Day. Who is that? What do they and the other sponsors provide? One thing they provide is enthusiasm for this project.
They do. People are very supportive of the project, which is great. So, Bay Coast Bank, they have a very large commitment to education in our community, and the financial literacy aspect of the program is important to them because you're teaching kids, the importance of money and how to invest your money afterwards. And, they have an opportunity to go into the bank maybe for the first time, picking up their materials, and then hopefully at the end of Lemonade Day going back to the bank and setting up a savings account with the money that they've earned. So, that's kind of circular for Bay Coast. And then Pro Group Contracting, for folks that don't know, is a very large operation right in New Bedford, and the owner himself is an entrepreneur, believes wholeheartedly in entrepreneurship and sparking that flame in kids. Because as some kids know, not every child is drawn to arts or music or sports. And if you're not drawn to those 3 things, then what do you do? Do you just sit and wait until you're 18 for someone to then introduce the idea of business, or do you try it out now and see if you like it? So Dave and the group have been very supportive in that. And, they added on an extra contest. Kids actually could win a brand new iPad through Dave and Pro Group Contracting, which is excellent. And then we have other great community sponsors that have been on board right from the start, like Andrew's Produce out in Fall River, Eau Claire's Market in Somerset. They always host a stand for us. And then Frugal Franks, who really always helps keep the cost of the items needed very low so that kids can manage their expenses and, get all their stuff in one spot. And then Cape Air. Cape Air believes in, our community. Clearly, they fly out of New Bedford. So, Sonic of Somerset is another one. Everyone's been very, very great in helping keep the program going now for 4 years.
You mentioned some stories earlier. Give us a Lemonade Day story, perhaps, that has touched you in a special way.
Well, Brenton, as I said, Brenton, I believe, he has learning disabilities, so some things are a little bit harder for him. But being his own boss allows him to set his own expectations, and he does amazing. His family rallies around him. So whenever I met him for the first time all those years ago, and he told me that his dog was his very best friend in the whole world. Again, he has, some other troubles. I think I teared up, and I gave him whatever was left of all my tip money. And so he comes back year after year, and he's always certainly been one of my favorites. And then we have some kids who are they're very creative. 2 years ago, we had a Lizzie Borden themed stand, and the lemonade was blood red. And this girl, Zoe, I believe she was 6 or 7, but dressed in full Lizzie Borden garb, outside of the Lizzie Borden house. Everything was just themed, and it was hilarious, you know? Um, and just things like that. I think a lot of times people will think about the program and think, kids, like, they're not that creative. I'm probably going to have to do a lot of work in this. And then the kids come up with these ideas, and you're just like, holy moly. I had no idea. I mean, the kids, like the stands, they blow our minds. The things that these kids come up with, they totally blow our minds. So certainly now that we've expanded to the 8 areas, I'm excited. I'm excited to see, how much more creativity will come out of them.
Where can people go to find out more information? Get involved, really.
Sure. So the easiest way is just fun107.com/lemonade day. I try to house all the information right at that URL. We have our own Facebook page. It's Lemonade Day South Coast. Certainly, I put all the information up there. And if you message the page, I get back to you pretty quickly, as long as I'm not sleeping. And then any businesses who want to offer to host a stand, we have a really simple Google form. You just fill out your name and your contact information and, what you're willing to do or not do. And again, it's free for businesses to host a stand. And a lot of times that in and of itself is a huge support because you're getting kids exposure in front of your place and they're leveraging your audience to really kind of have a great day. And if they have a great day, they might come back a year or two and they might, 10 years from now, actually have a shop on Union Street. And you just don't know that if you don't give them the chance to try it.
Yeah. That's what this is. It's a learning process, but it's also a learning process for these young people, too, getting them introduced to something that perhaps they wouldn't think about at 6, 7, 10, 12 years old. They wouldn't be thinking about this, but at least for one day. Actually, for more than one day, because you got to prep the whole thing.
Right.
You got to really get going. And yes, the more creative the stand, you just might sell more lemonade. So I think it's a wonderful life lesson. And congratulations to you and your staff for making it happen.
Thanks. 4 years.
That's
4 years.
Promotions sometimes. Run for 4 years. Sometimes they run for 10 years. Sometimes they run for a year and it disappears. Not this one, though.
I hope not. I hope not. I don't feel like it has a shelf life. So
good. Well, Lemonade Day, community project where kids can learn some valuable lessons. Good luck with it, Kristen.
Thank you.
Kristen Pacheco is the promotions director at WBSM and Fun 107. Thanks again, and we hope you have a big day on May 5th.
Good. I hope to see you guys come buy a cup.
Well,
change the world. That's the motto.
Buy a cup,
change the world.
There you go. Townsquare Sunday returns in just one moment.